Good morning, everybody. Uneducated economist here. So, Larry Kudlow came out in an interview on CNBC yesterday saying that the coronavirus has been contained. Really? Does anybody actually believe this? You know, I got to thinking about what he's doing here because he is not being intellectually honest with us. I mean, that is a completely BS statement to say that the coronavirus has been contained. It's not contained anywhere in the world. It's not contained here in the United States. It's not contained anywhere. I don't know why he would say such things. But I got to thinking about it because Trump was furious with the CDC, right? The Center of Disease Control, saying that they are destroying the markets with their statements about the coronavirus. So back to Kudlow. Why would he say such things? And if you listen to the interview on CNBC, and I'll leave links down in the description for you guys, he said that all he can do is look at the numbers. All he can do is look at the numbers. And I thought, even if you look at the numbers, you still have to say that there is, you cannot say that the virus has been contained. But I got to thinking about it a little bit. He has a job to do. See, he's the economic advisor for the Trump administration. So whatever it is that he says, it has to benefit the Trump administration. Has to. Or else he wouldn't be the economic advisor to the Trump administration. Somebody else would do it. So, this statement about all he can do is look at the numbers, it's a lot like a police officer who knows there's a crime taking place. They feel it. They know it. They sense it. There's a crime happening right now. But without the probable cause, or the accidental circumstance, there's nothing that police officer can do. There's nothing a cop can do about the crime. Because if he goes and just busts somebody without the probable cause for the search or the accidental circumstance, most likely that criminal will get off with the crime. And so Kudlow's in very much the same situation, where he may feel and know something different, but he cannot step outside of those numbers that are given to him. And we all know the numbers are manipulated. You know, one of the other things that we're seeing right now as this stock market sell-off is taking place is you're seeing the bond market rally. You know, it was an old school mentality in investing where you're either in stocks or you're in bonds. And when the stock market goes down, you get into bonds. And when bonds go down, you get into stocks. And it used to be the seesawing pattern that would take place. But since the last few years, basically since the day that Trump said this is a big, fat, ugly bubble, everything has been bubbling. Everything has. We're in a very tricky situation here, guys. I was watching an interview with Peter Schiff, who is like the biggest gold bug there is. I mean, there is nobody out there who is a bigger gold bug than Peter Schiff. And I thought about that for a little bit. There is no other place to go other than the precious metals. There is no other asset out there that even remotely comes outside of the banking system like gold does. I've said it before, I said it in the last video. But it was reiterated with that with the Peter Schiff interview. This is going to continue, guys. The stock market is not going to come back. If it is going down on account of the coronavirus, that thing is going to spread. It's going to get worse. Now, whether it is bad, you know, I don't know if it's as bad as the media puts it out there. I don't know. I'm no scientist or doctor or anything else. I have no idea about how bad this thing really is, or if it's just the media playing it up. But I wasn't worried about H1N1. I wasn't worried about bird flu, and I'm not worried about this one. One of the other things that Kudlow said is that there's no supply chain disruption. Again, he has to look at the numbers. That's the only thing he's given. And even though he knows or may feel something different, the numbers are telling him something else to say. And if he steps outside of that, he wouldn't be doing his job and he'd be fired. That guy is not intellectually honest. He's not intellectually honest with himself or anybody else. My mom used to tell me, don't be kidding yourself. You know, I would sit there and try and make up an excuse or, you know, whatever I was doing. You know, I was kind of playing it down. She says, nobody believes you. Don't be kidding yourself. It's probably one of the reasons why I've been so honest with everything that I try and say and do. Is because I think about the things that I say and it's like, am I being honest with myself? Or am I kidding myself? Who am I trying to convince, me or everybody else? Kudlow's in that same position right now. You know, there's obviously a supply chain disruption taking place. China is not shipping out the things like they used to ship. They're tightening up. They're failing all over the place. I got an article that says that, you know, these corporate bonds and stuff that that China is selling or trying to pay back is going into defaults. It's taking place, guys. China is in a bad situation, a very bad situation. And if they start to fail, the supply chain is going to fail. You know, Kudlow said something about like there's nothing that China makes that something about like there's nothing that China makes that we can't do for ourselves here. Well, no, that's not true. I'm not saying that we can't go and produce the things that China produces, but we don't have that infrastructure taking place right now. We are importers. We are importers of everything. You know, this news media, it's ridiculous. It is very ridiculous. And anybody who is following this thinking that everything is cool, listening to Kudlow, they're going to be in a bad way. This coronavirus is not contained. Everything he says is BS. I pretty much lost all respect for the guy. I mean, does he actually believe this? I don't know, guys. You know, precious metals are going to fall. They're going to go down. The bonds are going to continue to rise. They're going to bubble. The stock market's going to go down. And when that bond market, when it finally reaches its peak and it turns and we start seeing interest rates rise, this country's going to be in a very bad way. If the Federal Reserve continues to print and buy those bonds, we are going to see inflation in a very bad way. There is no way out of this, guys. None. And to think that the stock market rising is beneficial, yeah, I guess if you get out now and you hold cash, but the cash is going to go worthless. It's going to become worthless here in the future. Right now is a good time to be sitting in cash, in my opinion. Even if we have gold and silver and the rest of the precious metals out there, if they fall in price, the chances of you being able to pick those things up at a discount is very slim. Last time the silver price dropped in a huge way, the premiums were off the charts. I don't know, guys. Watching the markets this morning, I'm watching these headlines fly across. 350-point rise as the market returns. I'm sorry, you still have another 1,500 points to go before you can even remotely say that there's a return. You know, getting into provisions. That's what I would say to do. A 50-pound bag of rice, beans, oats is a very small price to pay to have something to eat here in the future. Even if everything is fine and nothing happens and everything's cool and everything I said is complete BS, it's still a very small price to pay for that assurance that you'll have something to eat. The supply chain is not being disrupted. I mean, really? You know, it takes a while for those supplies to run out. We know this from just talking about the plywood, right? When we were talking about plywood and I said that the plywood mills are shutting down and curtailing development, look how long it took from the time I made those videos to the time that the prices started to rise. Months. It took months and months to work through all that inventory. But once the inventory dries up, it's on. And when the demand increases, so will the price. N95 masks. Harder and harder to find. People are talking about how, the prices are starting to go up and that people are on a bidding war for these N95 masks. I knew that was going to happen. It's panic. And when the panic starts reaching into everything, you're going to see panic buying. Even if there is no supply disruption, even if there's plenty to be had, it takes a little bit of panic for people to go out there and clear the shelves, and then there's none to be had. We talked about that in toilet paper back in the 70s. It was a little tiny rumor came out there that there was going to be a toilet paper shortage. And everybody went out there and started buying toilet paper. And for almost a year, the shelves were cleared out of toilet paper. It wasn't that there wasn't enough toilet paper. It's just that it was sitting in everybody's houses. Stacks and stacks of it. Toilet paper. That could happen with anything and everything. And then if you have a real panic disruption, a real supply disruption, the panic will be real. Not just a panic buy, but a panic I can't get it because there is none to be had. For real. Trump getting furious with the CDC is a very bad move. He's basically saying that don't you make the people worry about this coronavirus. Why not? If it's a really big deal, then people should worry about it. But he's more upset that it caused the market to drop than he is about the health of the American people. I'm sorry, I'm a little frustrated and kind of ranting on this one, but this news media is just really irritating me right now. They're playing you guys. They're playing us. I'm not falling for it. They're blaming this whole market sell-off on the coronavirus. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. What's different about Monday than last Friday? What happened over the weekend that caused a 1,000-point drop on Monday and another 800-point drop on Tuesday? And now here it is Wednesday, and the markets have returned. Before I started the video, it was 200 points on the Dow, up. Who knows what it's going to be by the end of the day? The markets are not returning. It's not just this coronavirus. There's something else taking place here. And if the Federal Reserve goes and starts dropping interest rates again, you're going to see the bond market start to bubble, if it's not already bubbled. I saw another article saying that new housing sales are at a 12-year high. I have a hard time believing that's going to continue. When the markets start to sell off, all the second homes that people have bought are going to start selling too. I'm just assuming because they're going to want that money. They're going to sell everything they have. Everybody's going to start getting into cash. And once there's no other place to be because the markets keep falling, they're going to start getting into the only safe haven out there, precious metals. You know, I mentioned something about Bitcoin yesterday, or in my last video, and I was actually accused of being a liar. A liar about what? What was I lying about? You know, there's nothing that I say that is a lie. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I tell you every time. You guys let me know. This is my opinions. Okay? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I know this is a out of character video for me. Usually I'm not so, I don't know what to say, ranting. But I just have a hard time dealing with people who are just not being intellectually honest. Especially when it comes to this coronavirus and being contained. Ugh, God, what an irritating statement. Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.